this one had a hole in it. The hole wasn't particularly large or small. It was just there, about the size of a golf ball. No one knew how the hole got there, or when it had first appeared. It simply existed, unnoticed by most. Each morning, sunlight would filter into the room at exactly 8:03 a.m. As it did, the light would pass through the hole, casting a small, faint circle of light on the floor, just a few inches away from the baseboard. The light circle would stay in the same spot for a few moments before shifting ever so slightly as the sun continued its journey across the sky. The hole never changed shape. It was perfectly round, not jagged, not cracked around the edges. Just a smooth, unremarkable hole. Sometimes a draft would pass through it, causing a faint whistle to echo through the room. But it was never loud enough to catch anyone's attention. Just a quiet, barely noticeable sound. One afternoon, a fly landed on the edge of the hole. It paused there, as though contemplating whether to enter. But after a moment, it flew away. The hole remained still and silent. By 3:12 p.m., the light that had passed through the hole earlier in the day had moved on. Shadows stretched longer across the room, but the hole continued to exist, unaffected by the passing hours. A faint breeze caused the curtains to flutter slightly, but the hole still stayed. Nothing stirred inside it, and nothing came through it. A person entered the room at 5:13 p.m. They glanced briefly at the wall, but didn't notice the hole. They placed a stack of papers on a table nearby, glanced around the room, and left. The hole, invisible in the dimming light, went unnoticed once again. By the time evening arrived, the room was quiet. The clock on the opposite side of the room ticked softly, counting the passing seconds. But the hole made no sound. It had never made much noise, and tonight was no different. The wind outside picked up, occasionally blowing through the hole. But the sound it made was faint, barely a whisper. Night fell and the room grew dark. The hole, though hidden in the shadows, remained. Its presence was constant, though no one ever paid attention to it. It was neither mysterious nor significant. It was simply a hole, an opening to somewhere. At 7:24 p.m., the faint glow of a street light outside cast a sliver of illumination into the room. The light just barely touched the edges of the hole, revealing its perfect roundness for a moment before fading away again. The hole didn't was calm, and the room was silent, except for the occasional soft ticking of the clock. The hole, as always, remained. Its purpose, if it had one, was unclear. It led to nothing and invited no one. Hours ticked by, and at some point during the early morning a small spider crawled up to the hole. It hesitated at the edge before continuing past it, uninterested in what lay inside. The hole was empty, and the spider saw no reason to stay. At 5:46 a.m., the first pale light of dawn began to creep into the room. The hole was barely visible in the faint glow, but it didn't need to be. It had become a part of the room, a permanent fixture, neither growing nor shrinking, neither important nor entirely irrelevant. At 8:03 a.m., the sun's light entered the room once again. It struck the wall at just the right angle, passing through the hole and casting its small, predictable circle of light on the floor. The hole, for a brief moment, seemed almost purposeful, as though it existed solely to let this beam of light through. But then, the sun moved, and the light circle faded. By late morning, a tiny piece of dust drifted into the hole. It settled there for a moment before falling through to the other side, disappearing into whatever lay beyond the wall. The hole gave no sign that it noticed the dust's passage. It simply continued being a hole. In the afternoon, a draft blew through the room. The curtains rustled slightly, and a faint whistle escaped through the hole, but no one was there to hear it. The hole remained as it always had, neither offering anything new nor taking anything away. As the day came to an end, the light faded once more, and the hole slipped into darkness. But it remained as it had every day before, unchanged, unnoticed, and unexplained. Whatever was on the other side of the hole remained a mystery, though no one ever seemed interested enough to find out. And so another day ended. The hole in the wall stayed exactly where it had been, waiting for the light to pass through it again tomorrow.